And as you know, there are hot topics going on all day, all week, probably all hours, probably all minutes. And so this week, we're going to talk about a topic that I think all of us are engaged with, and is what is in that big, beautiful, blasphemous bill that that person is trying to get passed at the Senate. Rumor has it that there are about 3 or 4 senators on the GOP side who are thinking about not voting for it. 2 of them are 2 ladies, one from Alaska, and she's concerned that if she votes for it, that Medicaid bill is going to kill a large chunk of her constituency. Also, there's a woman out of, I think, Connecticut, same situation. So, and then, so I'm thinking, I'm hoping that those 4 would just move on over to the Dem side and vote no to the bill, which will stop it cold dead in the Senate. It doesn't go anywhere. So during the week, I received an interesting picture of some of the things that's in that bill. And one of it is, let me pull it up. One of it involves his ability to stop elections. And I think I showed that too. I shared that with you, Chris.
You did.
And you text me telling me, what in the world? But this is part of the, Trump did say, you vote for him again, you won't have to ever vote again. And, and I think that we're going to have to start listening to Trump very, very closely, because even though we don't think that all cylinders are clicking right, he is saying some things that he plans on doing, and not to take it lightly. So if this bill passed, then he can just stop an election for whatever period of time that he wants.
National security or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is, number one, this bill entirely. I'm trying to understand. You get DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Mm-hmm. You cut all of this stuff, and then you submit a bill that blows the budget up like crazy. I don't get this. Okay. And then on top of that, I run into so many people on a weekly basis that continues to say, when it was Project 2020, they said, oh, he can't do that.
2025.
Say, oh, he can't do that. And now that he's in office and the things that he's doing, they said, oh, he can't do that. You got to wait on the courts. And I'm saying, wait on the courts? Yeah, you got to wait on the court. Well, the court takes too long. And then just recently, all of those people from, was it Venezuela, from Haiti, from Cuba, and all those people, the Supreme Court just ruled with him to say he could deport all of those people. Mm-hmm. Okay?
He did sign, the court did say all those people on temporary protective status from Haiti, Venezuela, and a couple of other countries.
Cuba and Haiti.
Cuba and Haiti, they have to go back.
So when you begin to talk about the things that he can't do and to wait on the court, and you see all of these things that he's doing, and piecemeal the Supreme Court is saying, okay, we're going to give you the right to do this one, the right to do that one, or whatever. I still feel that there's a possibility he could get this stuff through. Jasmine Crockett said to us, guaranteed us, there won't be a third term for him. But this bill has already passed the House. So if it goes into the Senate, and God forbid they should pass it there, a lot of people are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, there's a lot in this. There's a lot of hidden nuggets in this bill.
What else?
He can ignore the Supreme Court rulings for a year or more.
Okay, let me stop you there. Let me ask this other question. If you put this in a bill, can a bill have things in it that are unconstitutional?
Evidently so. We're about to call off some stuff.
I mean, they could put Santa Claus is the next Supreme Court. They can put whatever they want to put in there, but the Supreme Court can say no. That's no. And the Congress doesn't have the right to restrict the fundamental constitutional powers of oversight of the Supreme Court.
So then he can't say those things. So those things can't be said in the bill. When the bill passed the House.
Well, no, they could say it, but that don't mean the Supreme Court is not going to say.
Okay,
Right.
but wait a minute. You've got those people who are in the House, most of them lawyers, and they put that in there, and they still passed it.
Yeah, they're scared of Trump. They're more worried about their political careers than they are
about the people.
Yeah. So that's the problem. The thing is, I keep going back. I saw this meme, and I keep going back to the meme, and it says, "Dear Americans, whatever you wish the Germans would have done in 1930, do that now." You know what I mean? And so I think we're at that point where whatever the Germans should have done to stop Hitler is what we need to be doing right now. And so I think, again, it goes back to a lot of people don't understand that Hitler took power legally. His party kept winning elections, and they kept winning elections so they became the majority, and he was legally awarded the chancellorship. Everything they did was legal. And once they got power, they continued to pass laws more and more restrictive, more and more restrictive, more and more restrictive until he became a dictator. It was not done illegally. It was not done by a coup d'etat. They didn't seize power. He was voted into office legally. So I think that Americans need to understand that democracy does not die with tanks on the street. Not in huge republics like this.
What do you mean by that? Democracy doesn't die with tanks on the street.
It doesn't die with tanks on the street.
What does that mean?
It means that democracy dies slowly, one vote after the other.
Okay.
We're gonna allow these people to slowly and surely vote our constitutional rights away.
So, well, someone wrote in this message that I received that got posted, this bill doesn't break the law. It rewrites the law so Trump never has to break it again. Mm-hmm. So here's another one. He can fire government workers for political disloyalty.
There you go.
So now, I don't know if I sent it to you guys on federal applications. Mm-hmm. You got to answer an essay question.
I saw that.
Where you have to talk about his executive orders.
They already started doing that for military promotions. Mm-hmm. They've already started asking some really suspect questions about officers who want to be promoted, who have to write an essay. So he is building personal loyalty to government workers. You have to seize control of the civil service. Nazis did that. You have to get the loyalty of the generals. All the generals had to retake a personal loyalty oath to Hitler. You know what I mean? So that's on the way. And I kept telling you that. Wait till he starts making the military start taking a personal loyalty oath.
And here's another one. Protests can be tracked and criminalized. Well, we already know about that. Mm-hmm. Then the LGBTQ plus rights, education, healthcare, and media, gutted. Mm-hmm. Your VPN, I thought was kind of interesting, tracked.
Right.
Your vote, suppress. Your speech, flag. So again, this bill doesn't break the law. It rewrites the law, mm-hmm. so Trump never has to break it again.
But wait a minute, you can't
Nazi Germany.
But you can't rewrite a law that's in the Constitution, supposedly, unless you have 2/3 of the states ratified.
Right.
So if they put that in there so that he can't break the law, mm-hmm. if he says I can suspend elections, I don't know that you can do that. Now, I'm not saying that he can't do it, because everything that we thought that he couldn't do, he's doing.
Right. And again, we keep saying this over and over and over and over and over again. Every single person in the military is going to have to make an individual choice. Do you want to keep your 250-year-old democracy, or do you want a dictatorship?
And I think some will and some won't.
There you go. And you're going to have Civil War 2.0.
Okay.
So that's where we're at right now. And it's going to be an individual choice. I seen a show. I think it might have been Morning Joe, where they wrote a book about American democracy, and the authors of the book talked about how angry rural white voters were, and that they were so angry that they were willing to give up their democracy just to own the libs.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have white rural voters, who are angry at the cities. They're angry at LGBT. They're angry at blacks. They're angry at Asians. They're angry at everybody. And they're so angry, they're willing to lose health care. They're willing to lose Social Security. They're willing to lose everything. You know what I mean? Education, everything. That's how angry that they are, that they voted for Trump. They knew he didn't do anything to help them the first time. They saw what he did as far as farm subsidies and everything. Even right now, you still have farmers who are complaining. You know what I mean? Oh my God, you know what I'm saying? We're our farms and we're losing our farms and we're not being able to export this and this and this. And they're still going to be Trump voters. They're still going to vote for the same Republicans. They're just so angry.
There's a belief out there where the reason why these folks would still vote for Trump, is because there's no reason why the United States couldn't have free health care, free education, right? Mm-hmm. But the belief is you have a group of people who'd rather not have it if they thought that
Somebody else would get it, right.
If black folks in particular would have access to the same right.
Right.
So they said, nope, we're not going to do it. And so everybody's getting burned because of this, let's call it what it is, this racism that impacts common sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's this country. This country has never had a racial reckoning, and it will never move forward until it does have that racial reckoning. And you can't stick your head in the sand, and you can't bury it. You can't say we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to teach it. It's until we deal with that, we can never move forward.
So let's talk about the False Claims Act.
Okay.
So basically, the False Claims Act is a U.S. federal law that imposes liability on individuals or entities that knowingly submit fraudulent claims for payment to the government. And this was enacted in 1863. So some of the key aspects of this act is violators can be required to pay 3 times the amount of damages the government suffered, additional fines per false claim, and private citizens or whistleblowers can file lawsuits on behalf of the government and receive a portion of the recovered funds. And so recently, the False Claims Act has been used in cases involving healthcare fraud, COVID relief fund misuse, and even DEI compliance. So we're going to hone in on that last piece, DEI compliance. So the Department of Justice has signaled an intent to use the FCA or the False Claims Act to scrutinize organizations that falsely certify compliance with federal civil rights laws. And so now what's happening is that a lot of businesses that are owned by minorities and women are going to be targeted as violating quote unquote civil rights laws or this DEI piece. They're doing everything possible to try to keep us from getting jobs, black folks from getting jobs. If only white folks were getting jobs, there would be no False Claims Act. But if it looks like from those organizations that are receiving federal funding that they're hiring one black person too many, then the DOJ is going to investigate.
Right, but there'd have to be proof. You know what I mean? There had to be proof that there was bias in that hiring decision.
Then or now?
No, under the lawsuit. You know what I mean? There has to be proof that hiring decision was based on a quota or you know what I mean, or some other kind of point system.
But I go back to what I said
weighted.
at the very beginning. I mean, I agree with you in the normal scheme of things. Yes, you would need proof. But proof doesn't seem to be working in this administration.
I mean, they would still have to show proof in the courts that
The court is saying show proof for them people you deported.
And then
And that one guy that they deported, who's over the first guy that went to the Venezuelan jail, they
El
still,
Salvador.
yeah, El Salvador, they still ain't brought that dude back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's different than being awarded compensation. The court can say this lawsuit, ma'am, get out of here. It's without merit because you didn't show proof that there was a weighted decision that was weighted in the favor of them hiring minorities. You know what I mean? So there's different protections there. But with that being said, yeah, that's not going to stop them from trying it. You know what I mean? And it's not going to stop them from using it as an intimidation for employers. You know what I mean? No, they are definitely, like I said, I know I've said this plenty of times. The people who are surrounding Trump, these South Africans, they believe in a racial hierarchy. You know what I mean?
Well, you talking about that one South African or the 59 more they
No,
brought
not
in?
the 50. I'm talking about the
one?
it's about 3 South African billionaires
Yeah.
that has
Okay,
his
okay.
ear, who believe in a racial hierarchy. So all the things he's been saying about black jobs, that's where it comes from. Because to them, they have what a idea of what a black job is. You know what I mean? And it's not sitting in the corner office. It's not sitting in the C-suite. They have an idea of what our job should be. So a lot of the things that they are doing or putting in place is based on this racial hierarchy.
And I guess the thing that now that makes sense to me after you saying that is he said they're taking all the black jobs. Okay. So does that mean that
They're going to see us
Black
back be in manufacturing plants. Is that where they see us?
I don't even know if that
It means we're going to get rid of these Latinos. We're going to get rid of 40, 50 million Latinos. And all the jobs they were doing, those are the black jobs. Y'all finna get y'all ass back in the fields. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna go out there and pick whatever. Y'all gonna be making up the motel beds. Y'all gonna be all the stuff that the South Africans expect black folks to be doing or were doing in South Africa during apartheid. Those are the black jobs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then the white jobs are gonna take the place of the ones that the black jobs are doing. And then the ones at the very top are gonna be AI.
So what about this in the bill? I think it also talked about rescinding nonprofit status.
It's changing their tax status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, like I say,
But but then again, if they change the tax status, that's going to impact churches.
Right.
So I'm waiting for these evangelical leaders to come out the pulpit and raise the flag. Hey.
but they might have made enough money where they don't, you know what I mean? They don't. It has to get down. You see what's happening now. Trump has older white voters, 90-something%. Once those people start getting Social Security, stop showing up, and they start hitting the grandma and grandpa start hitting the Social, they're already out there protesting outside the Social Security office.
Right.
Hands off my Social Security. Hands off blah blah blah. Blah. And medical and
In terms
Medicaid,
of Social
Medicare.
Security, there's already some funny business going on with that. In that, now I pull Social Security, and I still work. Okay, and I think that they're going to figure out, hey,
Strike that from the record. Go ahead.
We don't want these folks to take Social Security and work it simultaneously.
at the same time, right.
So I think that's going to probably be something that we really need to be watching out for at AARP. But Elon Musk and his 19-year-olds, I think, set up that bot system to where when you dial the number 1-800 blah 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 blah. Hello, this is a Social Security service. How may I help you? I need to talk to somebody about not getting my check. Can you elaborate? Can you give me more information? I need to talk to somebody about not getting my check. Well, your check won't, in other words, that bot is not answering the question. It's like a circular thing to where,
it's not designed to answer your question.
It's not designed to answer the question.
It's designed to make you get frustrated and
Hang up the phone. So there's already some mess done to the system to where you can't get a straight answer. You can't get a straight answer.
what we need to do, speaking of that, we need to keep our eyes on the prize. There's a whistleblower who caught Doge, who caught Russian hackers trying to hack into government systems with Doge created passwords. And we need to, yeah, and we need to talk about this every week. There is a whistleblower who the outside hack came from Russia, and they had brand new created Doge passwords and Doge usernames that Doge had just created. They were trying to get into. The only thing that stopped the hack is because it came from the computers automatically blocked because it came from a foreign IP, came from offshore.
So he didn't think about that when he did that.
Maybe they thought they had disabled all the systems because they had disabled all the security.
But it's okay. So another thing we got to think about is so he got a lot of contracts. So he is the welfare queen.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Ultimate.
So
Who's the he you talking about?
Musk
Okay.
with the black eye.
Said his son gave it to him.
He started telling his 5-year-old son.
Yeah.
We know Stephen Miller popped him in the eye for taking his wife.
Trump might have hit him.
Can he reach up that high? So anyway, Starlink is now officially tagged into the White House, and that is Musk satellite system.
Yeah. And I'm
Trump
sure
said he didn't even know what Starlink was.
all the data is going from the U.S. downloaded right to Russia. Oh yeah, we have a white nationalist, Nazi Russian spy ring in the damn White House. That's exactly
So so the first thing our next president need to do is just take a drone and knock that joker out. That Starlink out.
Yeah, I hope the next president goes after them and rounds all of them up and arrest all of them.
I hope y'all are right that there will be a next president. That's what I hope.
Yeah, you and I both. What we got next, Doc?
Women and minority-owned businesses, are in trouble. They, again, if you kind of think about it, if they're getting any type of money, from the government, they can't save for minorities. They can't save for women. They can't save for black. They can't save for green. They can't save. It's just, they can't. So this may affect especially black-owned businesses. Because we already seen it, what happened where someone from Texas sued those 2 black women down in Atlanta when they set up their own venture capital to help black-owned businesses for women. And someone from Texas yelled foul and stopped that.
Right. I mean, we need to be smarter than that. We don't have to announce our intentions. You know what I mean? I'm gonna set up a nonprofit, and even though my nonprofit may be strictly to help young black boys, you know what I mean, or young black women, but I'm gonna say my nonprofit is to study caterpillars. You know what I mean? We don't have to announce. If the only person, I said this last week, the only people I'm gonna hire, or if I'm a hiring manager, I don't have to announce that. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna do it.
Right.
I'm gonna thank all the white folks for putting in their application.
Right.
And then I'm gonna pick the best black candidate.
Right.
We don't have to announce our intentions.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just, hey, whatever.
You rolling today, brother. Hey. I don't have to speak, man. Everything you said, I agree with.
He had his Cheerio.
Yeah, he's rolling today.
I don't know, man.
I ain't got nothing to say, but
it might be a lack of sleep. I'm so tired, man. It's like, you know what? I don't care today. I'm too tired to care.
He's
you know
rolling
what I mean?
today, folks.
So care about this. The ancestors have spoken again.
Another
fire.
I saw that.
Kalorama Mansion in Washington, D.C., which was a former plantation. They caught on fire. So they caught on fire.
So somebody got to be setting these on fire.
Where Kalorama Mansion sits is this. It's in a prominent, predominantly white neighborhood.
Okay.
So if anybody black rose up in that neighborhood, don't you think there was they would call 911, 311, and everything else.
Becky would be out.
Would be out, so is it the spirit? What's going on? Are the ancestors getting tired of the BS?
And y'all ain't doing nothing. We got to take it over.
There you go.
So I'm going to put a map, where all the other plantation homes are,
Don't do that.
and
All
see
the
what
other
happens.
Follow what Caleb just said. Don't show your
Yeah,
intentions.
don't show your
Don't
hand.
do that. Don't.
Okay, scratch that. So yeah, so what is going on with these fires? Are they electrical?
That's a big fire. That's huge.
So yeah, so what's going on?
Yeah. We need to find out where the headquarters for the Sons of the Confederacy and the Daughters of the Confederacy.
San
No,
Antonio.
we not saying to burn them down. We just want you to know where their headquarters are.
So something's going on. Something's going on. I think we need to keep our eye on Lanier Lake in Atlanta. Well, you know what happened? At the bottom of that lake is a black town.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Are the spirits in that lake? Well, a lot of folks drown in that lake.
Yeah, a lot of people drown in Lake Lanier.
A lot of folks are drowning in that lake. I don't know whether the spirits in that lake are reaching up and just come on down to the party. Just come on down to the party. But that lake it has some funny business going on. These plantations, I guess they better try to keep buckets of water around Monticello and all them other places, because it looked like these plantation homes are on fire. And if it's anybody black, which I doubt, because again, where these houses sit, they're gonna know if a strange black person is in the neighborhood.
So you might think might be some white liberals coming on through.
Could be their own.
Some liberal white women with some matches.
So before we sign off, we want to take a moment to thank Carl Booker for being our producer and putting up with our shenanigans on this segment. You guys have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I would just like to say, hold on a second. Carl's not gonna like this, but I wanna talk about the Black Life Texas magazine, and obviously I don't know how it's happening. Everybody pick up a paper, but it seems like to me that we can testify that now it's getting into the prison system.
Yeah.
So we're getting fans and so forth in the prison system about the paper. So that means that all of you who are free definitely should be reading it.
I'm going to be
the guys in the
I'm going to be advocating for an improved education system in the prison, especially in writing.
Yeah.
But
So,
no,
yeah.
I want to acknowledge everything that's in the paper. It is a very good paper. I would encourage each of you to subscribe to the paper, because as things begin to get crazy at the administration, we're in the state of Texas. As things begin to get crazy within the state of Texas,
Been in San Antonio.
we're in San Antonio, and next week we'll probably find out whether we're
crazy.
going to be under Abbott's rule or not. So, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. So it's important that you subscribe to this paper, because I don't know how long you're going to be able to get it at the outlets that you are. I was at a funeral home yesterday and saw the paper and picked it up. But, we need to support our own. And this is a way that we can do that. So please subscribe to the paper and pick up the paper.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Ditto. I just look, paper. And if you like the show or you hate the show, it's more in the paper. So all of us contribute to the paper. And so we have some really great pieces, really great feature articles, opinion pieces, and feel free to our email addresses are in the paper. So if you have anything you want to say to Doc or to Chris, feel free to email them and let them know your thoughts. And we get the emails and we read your thoughts. We read your opinions. Yeah, we read your comments. So yeah, definitely let us know what you think. And if there's something in the paper that you want to see, that you want to read, you know what I'm saying? Reach out to us and let us know. And like I said, because this is us. This is us covering us. It's about us, and we love to hear from us so we can cover more of us.
And then I want to go ahead and mention one more show. Fred Williams was the founder. He's the granddaddy of this show, okay? But he has started another show called Wise Guys that comes on at 6 o'clock. 6:30 on Wednesday nights. So go over there and check out Wise Guys with Fred Williams, and Mario Salas
On BVN Network,
on BBN Network.
YouTube. So that's where you'll find it.
Well, with that being said, it's going to be a great day to get out there and get out in the sun. With that being said, this is Contemporary Black Voices, where we're telling stories our way.
That's a wrap. All right.
All right.